Welcome back. We're so excited to have you here at Lowercase Church, man. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I hope that the holidays have brought you like joy and you're just ready to start this year off and go after some goals and some new and fresh ideas with fresh energy. I kind of chopped that up right there. But with fresh energy. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. We're talking about fresh starts. Like, what is a fresh start? Let's unpack that really quickly. And then let's talk about when is it time to make one? And then how do you commit to it? When I think about fresh start, I think about God. That's just off the bat. I think when I hear the words fresh start, I think about people recommitting or committing their life to Jesus because that's the ultimate fresh start you can make in your life. I mean, that's the best one, and that puts your life on an amazing track. And so when I hear fresh start, that's what I think about. So if you're listening to this podcast today and you haven't decided to live your life for Jesus and walk your life out with God, that's that. I hope we speak to you today when we talk about fresh starts and what it's about. I hope it pursues you in it. I hope it convinces you to make that fresh start with God because that's where it all kind of begins. That's the epicenter of your life, and everything flows from that decision. Jesus gives you discernment. He gives you vision and ideas for your future when you start walking with Him. Everything else, it's not even worth it. And so ultimately, fresh start with God is the best start that you can ever have. And so we're going to crack this subject open today, Jason. I'm so glad that you're here, man. What do you feel when you hear the words fresh start? What do you think?
Oh, I feel grateful. So, countless fresh starts in my life.
Come on.
And whether that I don't know that that's good or bad. Like, I think that's human nature in some ways.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in a positive season of fresh start, and so, over the last I think we're at day, like, 123,
Okay.
of fresh starts where with my health journey, like, trying to I committed to posting 365 days straight, about my health, and interestingly, I feel like that is connected to my relationship with God. I feel like it is
Come on.
connected to my relationship with my family, my friends. I think it is connected to my example that I wanna be,
Hmm.
and so for me, I've been in good shape before in my life, um, probably never the best I could have been because of diet combination of, like, when I was working out, my diet was suspect, and
Hmm.
then, it continued to be suspect when I stopped working out, and that's part of the problem. So, now that I have the diet under control, um, and I think really managing it well, facing that challenge head on, and trying to stay dedicated to it in terms of accountability, which I think is a huge part of a fresh start, is
Hmm.
finding some way that works for you to maintain accountability. That's my best strategy. And so for me, it was just publicly posting my actual weight every day. And the reason I do a selfie with it too is one, you can see physical change in my face and things like that. But I also kind of like the metaphor of I have to look people in the eye
Mm.
and post what my day is. I usually put a little blurb, but I always include a Bible verse about health and wellness and just like Proverbs 3:8 right now. I had First Corinthians before, and I just try to find these verses that will, if people happen to look it up, give them a little kind of biblical reference for health, right? Because, like you said,
Hmm.
God being the basis of everything that we're doing,
That's
every
good.
decision that we're making, and I want him to be a part of the fresh start too, because that helps remind me why I'm doing it is to hopefully bring him to more people,
Come
like
on.
in a way that is a healthier version of me representing him well. So my wife says this
That's
all the
good.
time, right? She likes to get done up, get made
Mm.
up if we're going out, or when we have the kids with us, like she does an amazing job of, and you may have seen some of this, but like coordinating our colors
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
dressing up in, in a way that's not corny, but
Hmm.
it's not lacking in fashion sense either.
That's
So
good.
what she wants us to do is look kind of camera ready in a way, but really because not because we could end up on camera, but because it represents our family well.
Yeah.
And so when you go out, you represent your last name, you represent the people. So I always want to be the person, like if I meet someone and then they say my name to someone else,
Hmm.
it isn't like that other person will be proud to be like, "Oh, yes, I have a positive thing to say about that person.
Yeah.
Um, or if they say something negative, um, it's okay if they share different beliefs than me, right? Like, but as long as I'm honoring God with what I'm doing and honoring my family,
Mhm.
I always feel like that's a good start. That's a
Yeah.
fresh start. Is whatever habits you can develop that do that is important. So, um, the health was just my biggest challenge, like the one that I've faced the longest, and the one that I'm ready to conquer completely
It's
is
good.
and maintain it for the rest of my life. Um, because there's no positive to I have not found in my research a positive to staying overweight, a positive to,
I don't think so. No.
yeah, eating incorrectly. And there is some, like, what is it, endorphin rush or something short term, but I've never found a long-term, um,
Benefit?
benefit, yeah, staying heavy, to, like, more heart disease isn't good,
Mm.
more pre-diabetes checkups is not good, like, I can't think of a reason, other than selfishness, like selfishly wanting to eat, Doritos at every meal. Um,
Every meal?
not every meal, no, that's an
Just had
exaggeration
to throw
for
that in
sure.
there.
No, not every meal.
I was like,
Like,
"Whoa."
eating no, but eating, like, sugary foods and,
Mhm.
salty sweet and soda. Yeah, soda
Yeah.
at every meal, like, right?
Mm.
The not even Diet Cokes, like the Cherry Cokes of the world.
Mhm.
Um, but that's the thing is, like, for a fresh start for me, it's so important to look at your life,
Mhm.
figure out the areas in which you need accountability or be dedicated to something,
Mhm.
that will improve your life,
It's
and
good.
then go after that thing. And so, because it's New Year's, right? This will be coming out, what, January 3rd. Um, because it's the start of a new year, I think people like to start fresh then. Like,
Mhm.
I literally just joined a gym, like, I'm a statistic.
Let's
I'm
go.
a stereotype now.
Did you get a good deal? That's the point.
I actually did. It's a 24-hour gym, but I paid for the annual membership because it made me feel a little more committed to it. Like, I'm
Okay.
gonna stick with it. I'm not doing month to month because I think month to month I'll lose sight of. I'm in for the year, and actually my goal is 4 days a week for the year.
Okay.
So, unless I'm traveling or something like that, just
Mhm.
4 days a week at this particular gym, I plan to be active. Um, and I don't really have a here's the other thing that I kinda wanna, encourage people with, as if you're going on a fresh start with your health journey, because I would say weight loss, but the goal isn't necessarily a number on the scale, even though that's typically a pretty good indicator of the other
Mhm.
choices you're making. That's why I use it. Um, to me, it's a health journey because I want it to be forever.
Hmm.
Like, live healthier, not be ready for the beach in May and then in August start quote unquote hibernating again. Right.
Mm.
So I don't ever want to go back to, uh, high levels of carbs, high levels of sugar in my life again. I don't
Mm.
ever wanna go back to feeling like I lack energy or parts of my body fall asleep if I sleep wrong, Like,
Mm.
those kinda things that happen
Yeah.
when you're not healthy.
Yeah.
To me, a fresh start really does represent, uh, continual growth, continual longevity, and I think that's what I'm trying to approach and trying to attack it is, um build a habit, right? Like I said, I'm 120 days in, so I do feel like the public accountability has become such a habit that it
Mhm.
wouldn't be weird. When I first started, I wasn't sure. It wouldn't be weird to, like, go 1,000 days. Like, I don't think it I mean,
Wow.
listen, for those that follow me on social, sorry if I'm flooding your feed every day, but, it wouldn't be unusual for me because to me, it's been awesome accountability, like,
Mhm.
and it's helped encourage other people. So I think that's another benefit of a fresh start is when people see you pursue something, um, you don't have to be filled with pride, you don't have to lack humility, but it does encourage other people. You get to be a good example for other people, and I think that's a huge one for me. That's one of the main reasons I started was
Good.
in August of this past year, looking at video of myself, while I was preaching at the, Chowan Chapel, shout out for
Mhm.
the merch. When I was preaching, um, I was like, "Man, who's that guy on screen?" Because the guy I'm looking at would have a hard time talking about making healthy choices in life
Yeah.
because people could immediately poke a hole and say, "Like your eating choices?"
Mhm.
And that you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't wanna leave room for that where that's not a good example. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's what fresh starts represent to me right now. Um, it's my health journey. I wasn't sure if I was gonna start there or not. Like, to me, every fresh start, total agreement with you, should be biblically sound.
Mhm.
But for me, I think it impacts so many parts of my life. Um, I have enough kids. I got an awesome wife I want to be with for as long as I can. There's just so many reasons to make this choice and um, improve it. Be about it and keep going. So fresh start feels like renewal. A fresh start feels like um, excitement, I think. And then I think the goal is just through accountability on whatever the thing is, by the way,
Mhm.
maintaining that excitement, like
Yeah.
keeping it fresh in your mind and in the mind of someone that can, in a positive way, hold you accountable. So I don't know if
Good.
that answered anything
Oh,
specifically.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely answer the question.
Okay. Yeah.
I do wanna kinda go back to this accountability thing because you did
Okay.
something unique with this journey. You're posting a picture
Yeah.
and you're, like, writing something every day.
Hmm.
So, tell me how you deal with the ebbs and flows of the expectation that every day there'll be change and
Mm,
positive change. How do
yeah.
you deal with the because when you make a fresh start, right? I'm sure in the beginning, as you started this journey, you shocked your body and you saw like, wow, I can't wait to make this post. Tomorrow's gonna be another post. And then you kind of, you know how the body starts fighting you and you're like, oh man, I gotta post this today.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a, 5/10 of a pound heavier than I was yesterday. And
Yeah.
so how do you deal with the not making progress because you're doing something actively every day and recording it. So have you experienced there being not good progress to report? And then how do you face that? How do you overcome it? Does it motivate you? Does it set you back? Like kind of unpack that a little bit because
Yeah.
if if you're listening today and you're like, hey, I want to do this year. I want to learn how to play the guitar better. You may have some early successes and then you're going to hit some strides where it's like, if you're not committed to it, you will give it up. So I guess I'm asking you that question. I'm also asking you along the way, have you just wanted to stop? Find a reason to stop. Like you're
Yeah.
what, 100, over 160, how many days in?
Oh, right now, like 124 ish.
124, that's 124 pictures, 124
Yeah.
posts.
Yeah.
Like along the way, I'm sure you wanted to like throw the camera, find a reason to be like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
So talk about some of the ebbs and flows that goes along with the commitment like that.
Yeah, so you nailed it on the head, by the way. On the first 3 days was, like, incredible. So you post day 1, right? And, 0, I put plus or minus 0 just to
Mhm.
start fresh. Um, I think by day 3, it was, like, minus 7 pounds. I was like, "This is
Oh, let's
incredible."
go.
Really, 'cause, you stop beating your body up, and
Yeah.
you start doing the right things, and your body's like that's that 3rd day or 4th day is like, your body's taking that deep breath like, "Oh my goodness, thank you for stopping the Starburst train or the,
Mhm.
you know, uh, cheeseburger train," or whatever, like, by the way, nothing wrong with, like, a burger without a bun. Just wanna throw that out there. But that kinda thing. Recently, it's funny that you asked the question. In the last, like, I think it's, like, the last 8 days,
Mhm.
right? I or could have been a couple days ago, don't quote me on it, but at some point, I hit the same weight that I was 7 days earlier. So I dropped way down one day. Like,
Mhm.
I think we went walking somewhere as a family, and we just like, I fasted till dinner, and I had an awesome weigh-in the next day, like,
Mhm.
down a pound and a half.
Mhm.
And then over, like, the next 4 or 5 days, it, like, stayed level, creeped up a little bit, and then it was back to where I was at before, like, I did the extreme walking.
Mm.
So the thing that helped me, and this is where I think tracking helps a lot for me personally,
Mhm.
um, it is hard to maybe post, like, what can feel like a short-term loss in
Mhm.
a I mean, hold on, like, it's gaining weight, which feels like a loss because the goal is to lose the weight and be healthier. Um, the truth is, it helped me to have day 30 to look back at,
Mm.
right? So what helped me was I'm able to scroll a little bit or look at my logbook and be like, do you remember the time, and I think you and I just talked about this, right?
Mhm.
Can you look back on life, whether it's
Yep.
30 days ago or 30 years ago, and go, have you lost sight of what's happening here?
Mhm.
Right? Because that's where fresh starts start,
Yeah.
what derailing is
Mhm.
like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. You know what I saw was on day I remember weighing in like 30 days ago and thinking, I'll never get into the 240s.
Mhm.
Like my weight was doing this thing where I was like, oh no, my plateauing in the 250s.
Yep.
And sure enough, bing, down in the 240s.
Yeah.
And now I'm feeling anxiety because I'm like, "Oh, I'll be in the 240s forever." But all I
Mhm.
have to do is go back and look at the beginning. My starting weight September 1st was 279.8,
Ooh.
and I'm in the 240s.
And you've
And
already
so, yeah, even if I was just in the 260s, you know what's not happening? Your weight's not going up.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I've even made better progress. So it's
Yeah.
looking at a longer time horizon.
Mhm.
Like, do the right things and trust that over time it's gonna work.
Mm.
So your muscles don't look amazing after one hard workout. Even and they probably they feel sore. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna wake up
Mm.
swole. Oh, this is gonna be incredible. And then you wake up and you look the exact same. You're like,
Yeah.
man, but I guarantee if you make your muscles sore for 200 days in a year,
Mhm.
you will look different at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Your chemistry will be different at the end of the year as long as you don't negate with bad habits,
Mm.
right? And so I know that if I stay dedicated to what is good, if I have a long time horizon in my head, then
Mhm.
and maintaining accountability the whole time, that I'm going to be able to look back at day 365, and there's no chance that I'm going to be close to day one in
Yeah.
terms of my health, right?
Mhm.
And there's some people that only need to lose 15 pounds or 10 pounds. You know what I'm saying? There's like people that, and your weight might go up because you gain muscle or whatever that is. For me, I know like losing 100 pounds was an achievable, like over at least over 2 years goal, right? Like,
Mhm.
so, um, I'm not satisfied until this is a weird thing, right? What I told my wife is I'm going to post for at least 365 days. And then I'm gonna continue posting until I plateau for 30 days straight.
Oh, wow.
So what that will mean is what I'm trying to say is, uh, if I can keep losing over a 30-day window, right? So basically I'll post at least 395, 395 days. If I plateau, that's telling me, I think, over a 30-day window, I'm doing all the right things, and I know I'm doing the right things, I'm trying to stay
Mhm.
accountable, and I'm plateauing, my body has reached equilibrium, hopefully. And
Mhm.
maybe that'll be 60 days, like, I'm gonna be honest about it, because if I plateau at 210, I know I can get to, like, 190. Like, there's no way.
Mhm.
But that's the thing is, if I'm at 190 and it's like I'm doing all the right things, but and I'm not trying to like cut weight, I'm not trying to just fast for 30 days straight to lose 10 pounds. You know what I mean? Then I'm like, okay, I know where my body's equilibrium is. Here's the crazy part. I don't think I've lived healthy enough yet to know where my
Mm.
body's equilibrium is.
Mm.
And so that's my goal is maintain accountability until the goal. Then and by the way, this is like such a cool here's the nice part about fresh starts is I think people really like them.
Mm.
Right? When Jesus comes to you and offers you a fresh start, that's exciting.
Mm.
And then down the road, your relationship with Jesus matures and grows and you get deeper in it, but you also face opposition sometimes, right?
Yep.
As a Christian, like the world will come against you.
Yep.
Um, it's exciting to make a new financial decision to do a budget. And
Mhm.
it's awesome until 6 months in, you get a tax bill that's
Mhm.
like or 6 months in, you get a medical bill, and you're
Mhm.
like, "Okay, we said no more debt. Oh, what are we gonna do?" You know what I mean? Like, until the rubber meets the road and you
Yeah.
really face a challenge, that's when you find out, and that's where accountability matters, that's where trusting God matters. I guess what I'm trying to say is, with the health journey, I don't know what that looks like, and so to me, it's just keep going.
Mhm.
Maybe it's post 1,000 days if that's what keeps me going. Because the minute I feel like not posting or relaxing is when you know you have to post the most, right? Like, I gotta post this because I'm starting to relax. I'm starting to,
Yeah.
and thankfully, I haven't felt that yet. Here's the cool part. Remember, I mentioned it before. Like when you make positive changes, and like talk about the uh maybe the most vain or empty thing you could do. When you watch a movie and there's some actor that's like shredded, you're like, well, gosh, I could do better. Like you see, when
Yeah.
you see somebody make positive change or do something positive, we notice that and go like, I want to do that. Man, this
Mhm.
guy does well with money. I'd like to do that. Well, the coolest part about maintaining accountability and publicly how I've done it, if this can encourage somebody else to do it, because it can be a fearful thing. Like, are people gonna make fun of you? You're putting your business in the streets, or is like, how's that gonna go? Right? When you start a
Mhm.
fresh start, ready? 2 days ago, I had a buddy that I worked with years ago that was like, hey, Jason, my cousin just passed away of a heart attack.
Mm.
And, I'm getting older. I want to lose some weight. And I literally sent him everything that I'm doing. Like
Yeah.
we just talked over, I think it was like Facebook Messenger, and he's lost 6 pounds.
Let's go.
And he wants to lose about 40. So that's his particular body type and things. He's lost 6 and he's like, I can't believe it. And it's like, you just don't know what you don't know. You don't know
Yep.
who's looking at your life, and you can
Mhm.
inspire with a fresh start, because I know here on the church podcast for real, it's about not just ourselves, but then extrapolating out the successes of our lives,
Yeah.
the things God has done for us, and giving that to other people. Um, I want to leave a legacy in the world where even if no one remembers my name, the things that I've done will last in a positive way.
Mm.
And so, hey, if somebody gets to live it a little longer because I posted on Facebook and Instagram my weigh in every day, this is
Mhm.
awesome. So that's been really cool.
That is
Is
good.
is fear could have stopped me from a fresh start.
Mm.
Don't let fear stop you from a fresh start,
That's good.
right? Don't let fear of posting, because the reality helps people. Like when I post and I've gained a little weight, the comments underneath will sometimes be like, or I'll be like, man, had a rough couple days. I'm back on the train, or like had some lazy days where I didn't lose any weight.
Mhm.
I know I'm eating too late or whatever. Uh, anyways, so that's the
The whole realness of it, right? Not the
yeah, the
cartoonish
reality.
that it's all gonna be positive in a positive
Right.
direction, right? So, what I kinda extrapolated out of there, when you were talking was that when you make a fresh start, you can expect initially, like, this jolt of energy, like, the newness, the
Yeah,
freshness of it, right? And then you have to quickly learn to manage and expect and work towards delayed gratification.
that's
Because
right.
it's gonna take some work in there. Whatever you're starting, whatever you're beginning, it's gonna be exciting in the beginning, but that's gonna wear off quickly. And then commitment has to kick in, right? Because if you're looking for a prize every day, you won't get the prize every day. Some days are just work days.
Yeah.
Some days are just work days. I am a component of put your head down and get to work. So I'm a fitness tracker person, right? So
Yeah.
I have a step goal every day, right? So I think I have a step goal today. I think it's like 26,000 steps, right? So
For today?
for today, right? So
Are you kidding?
I
Hold on, back up. 26,000 steps?
yeah, I'm on my own little health journey.
No
Yes,
doubt. What is
26,000 today. So,
Yo,
I think
okay.
later on today I'll be running to the gym, working out, and then running back. So we
Okay.
that should get us done, right?
No
So
big
I
deal.
get up in the morning and I go to the gym, right? And so I try to do cardio in the morning, and it gives me a big chunk of steps right there. But I've noticed on days where I'm constantly focused on the step count, like I'll check it, like
Oh, okay.
keep checking it. It seems like it's moving like snails. I'm like, what? Been walking around, I only got like 3,000 steps. I'm
Okay.
in trouble.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not working today, right? But
Okay.
the days where I forget about it and I'll look up and I'll be like, man, that's 14,000. Oh, we've been moving
Oh,
today.
yeah, okay.
We're cooking.
Yeah.
Like we're rolling. And so when it's the concept of not trying to watch every single detail change. Like sometimes
Mm,
you just gotta get after it. Right. Like, and I believe it's a big part of like a fresh start. If you're beginning your journey with God, here's the key. You got to get in the word. Like
yeah.
you got to get in a good Bible based church. You got to get serving on a team. You just got to get rolling. You got to get in. You got to, whatever you're starting, you need to get in the ecosystem of it and get to work. Get your hands dirty, get in there. Just like you talked about the one day where you went out and you did the walk. and you were just like, whoa, this day just, it,
Yeah.
those compounding those types of moments on top of each other gets the scale moving. It gets you moving in the right direction. Every day won't be like that, but in order to make progress, you're gonna have to put your head down and really get to work and stop thinking about the goal so much and just start thinking about achieving the small blocks. I like calling it win the day. Like
Yeah.
setting your goals for the day and be like, look, I don't know about tomorrow. Yesterday's gone. I got today. Let me win today. Let me set objectives that I know I can achieve today. And then we'll worry about tomorrow if we get it. Like so,
Yeah.
and so moving that kind of scale forward, man, I think you are really pushing inspiration out there. That's a really bold thing to like that's bolder than me, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
I just knew that's the highest level of
yeah.
accountability. Like, like, I'm literally so here's the interesting thing, I'm accountable to, like, anyone that can go
Mhm.
look at my social media, in
Mm.
theory, you know what I mean? Like, it's not
Yeah.
every single day, but, the thing I've been taken aback by is not taken aback in a bad way, but, like, how many people don't comment, they don't like the post, they don't put a heart on it on Instagram,
Mhm.
anything like that, will say something to me in person.
Mm.
Like, "Man, I'm following hey, I'm keep going. I see the changes. I'm following your health journey." I'm like, "You're following it? I have not seen any interaction whatsoever with the post." But people don't, right? They're just scrolling, but they're like, "Okay, number went down." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and 2 people so far in just what, 3 or 4 months have been like, "Hey, on the sneak, like, I'm following you and I started also, but I don't wanna say anything to anybody. Like, I don't wanna post it. I don't wanna." And that's just so cool. Like, to be like, wow, even if it's just a couple people,
Yeah.
and shout out to my wife because and she is this, man. Like, she's, helped steer me straight when I'm worried about stuff.
Mhm.
When I did this once before, which man, that's, like, so shameful to say out loud, but that's okay. Like, I've lost I went from 320 to 220 in a year, and then back up to now I got to near 279, 280, right? And I'm going back down. But in 2019, I went from 320 to 220 in 1 year, working out, ketogenic diet, just
Wow.
total lifestyle change. Because that's when I was like, "I gotta save my own life,"
Mhm.
right? Just before COVID hit. Um, and so I got back into some bad habits in like 21 or 22-ish and slowly went from 220 to 270,
Mm.
279. So I could see the bad habits creeping back in, you know what I mean? Let's get back down. So
Mm.
now it's gonna stay gone forever. Like there's too
Yeah.
much at stake. I gotta quit playing around, right? Especially right here as we're getting near 40. It's time to
Mm.
stop playing games. I should have never played games. Turns out though I had bad habits that I had to break. And so um what's the point? My wife said to me, uh, "You should talk about this more." Like, when I went from
Mhm.
320 to 220, when I talked about moving in silence, buddy, I didn't post a thing.
You're a
I d
Batman?
well, and I didn't wanna, like, we'd be at church on Sunday. I didn't wanna talk to anybody about it. I
Mm.
didn't wanna talk to anybody at work really about it. Like, we would talk about it a little bit, but it wasn't about advertising because I was like, "Well, I don't wanna come across as, like, um" bragging or like, "Look what I've done,"
Mhm.
or I really don't want, anybody to feel bad that they're not kinda thing. These are excuses that I made,
Mhm.
and she was like, "I think you're missing the point." Like, because I said I don't want credit for doing the wrong thing for years and then, like, doing the right thing, which I should have been doing all along. I don't wanna get a bunch of credit for that. It's like to
Mhm.
me, it was like, I'm some I'm like doctor, that's doing surgeries wrong, or I'm like a and then all of a sudden I do a surgery right, and people are like celebrating. I'm like, I've done this wrong for like a long time, or like I'm a bank robber, and I just rob
Mm, okay.
banks over and over
Yeah.
and over again. Okay, and then one day I'm like, I I'm gonna give it all back. Well, like you shouldn't. It's not like
Who
celebrate
took it?
good times. You're like, dude, you finally did the right thing. Great, but like okay, that's how in my mind I felt.
Yeah.
Um, that's not true. So what it really did is and shout out to Delia, man, she knew. Uh, what it really did was encourage people because she made a great point I didn't think of. I'm not the only person that struggles with doing the wrong thing, the easy thing,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
Like, I'm not the only person who's like, "Oh, man, chips sound great right now,"
Mhm.
you know? Or like, "I'm just tired. I'm just too this, I'm too that." I'm making excuses. I'm not the only person. So when they see somebody do it, it isn't like, "Oh, look at him." I mean, in an unhealthy way, it could be. When they see somebody do something, what do people do? They're like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?" Like, how
Mhm.
and most people are like, "What are you doing?" So now it's playing out how she said it would, and I fought her about it. Now that I'm posting publicly, it's like seems like it's just encouraging more people.
Mhm.
And so I think that's a great part about fresh starts is what it does for other people. You know,
Ooh.
what it really does, what it how it encourages, how it um human nature is we look around, right? We look at other
Ooh.
people and we try to take in. And when you see somebody winning at something you'd like to win at,
Mm.
there's kind of one or two reactions. I thought most people would
Wow.
be like, well, I
Mm.
could do that too, but I'm just not gonna. No, the truth is people's real reaction is like, I want to get better at that. What are you doing? And let
That's
me see if
good.
I'm willing to do that. Now, I always find this funny. If I can encourage people, um, or challenge people with their fresh start, like when you hear something working and you see it over and over again from people, like don't tell yourself you can't do it.
Mhm.
You can do whatever you hold yourself accountable to.
Mhm.
Um, but you kinda be surprised how often people are like, "I'd love to do exactly what you're doing. What does it require?" I'm like, "Well, I had to cut out, regular sodas, only diet. You gotta go low carb. You can't have bread." Minute you say you can't have bread to people, like, you can have some bread. There's ketogenic bread. I get it. But you can't have regular bread at a restaurant. You'd be amazed how many people are like, "Oh, well,
Been
that's
there.
it. I'm done. Like,
Been there.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't possibly." Well, and
Yeah.
you could, but it's
It's tough.
what's the difference, right? What is it
It's tough.
costing you, and what do you want it to cost you?
Mhm.
So, uh, yeah, I mean, fresh start. Have you ever so when you think about a fresh start, have you ever had one where you were like, I'm fighting this because that's what my
Ooh.
weight journey has been for me is like, I know I want a fresh start. Um, and weirdly, like with my faith, I tend not to fight fresh starts. Like I know what's best and not I know what's best. What I mean is I know when I'm doing the wrong thing and I need to be better. Like when I need to get in my Bible more, I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
yeah. But for some reason, and I think it's like addiction to sugary foods or like delicious, like when I just like eating them and I don't care what the cost is, it's that short term thinking
Mhm.
for me personally, the fitness health journey has been a really strange one where like I don't I fight starting. Like I know like right now I'm 120 days in. I don't even remember what it feels like to eat Starbursts. I don't really want them. I go to the movies, I don't feel tempted. Day 2 of the journey, if you had taken
Oh,
me to the
yeah.
movies, man, I'm like watching other people eat candy going like, "What's up?" Like
Mhm.
weirdly, like a
Yeah.
creepy guy like, "Hey, nice Starburst, kid." No, but, like, is there one where you felt like it's hard to start?
Ooh. Hard to start.
Because what I'm trying to think of is you have a lot of good habits in your life, but for me, I didn't wanna share the bad habits. I didn't wanna share the positive returns from just changing a bad
Mhm.
habit to a good habit because, like, I didn't want credit. Can you think of one like that that you kind of push back against where you're like, "No, man, that's gonna cost me too much," or blah, 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 and then you made a change? Or do you know somebody in your life that did that?
Ooh.
I think
Th
the more stories like that, the merrier for people,
the
you know what I
these are
mean?
gonna be telling, right? These are gonna be telling because these are real, and you probably won't hear, like, Chris's talk about, like, this at this level. This man, do I
Okay.
really gotta tell this story?
Yeah.
So, I had 2 struggles that were very hard. I wouldn't say per se to start, but to stay consistent with. Like,
Okay.
to make it the full week, right?
Okay, okay.
A couple years ago, I committed to to reading the Bible in a year, right?
Uh-huh.
Read the Bible, and read through the Bible, but it took me like more than a year, and I committed myself to 12 months. I'm gonna do this.
Okay,
And
okay.
so, if you're gonna read the Bible in a year, you understand that it's not it's not a whole lot of reading, but it's not a little bit of reading.
It's not casual though
It's
at
not, yeah,
all.
it's
Like,
not like
you gotta
I'm gonna
really
take
go.
15 minutes to do this, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna take you 30 to 40 minutes a day of reading, an hour some days, right? And so I committed myself to doing it. I can tell you by like day 4, there were all kind of reasons to be like,
Yeah.
I'm tired. I missed it doing this morning. I was in a rush. I overslept. There was all kind of reasons to be like, stop. And I'm telling you, just to hold yourself accountable, because all it takes is to miss one day. All it takes is to make an excuse for one day, and then you'll be like, okay, tomorrow I'll read twice as much. That's twice as hard. Like
Right. Yeah,
that's
by day 4, you're
and
like,
then
"I
if you
can't
miss
read."
2 days,
Yeah.
it's a snowball effect. And you're like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I said I was gonna read the Bible. Okay, Saturday, I'm just gonna read for like 3 hours. That's not gonna happen. That's
Right.
not, I'm
Right.
telling anybody right now who's like,
Yeah.
I'm reading the Bible this year. And so I'm like, it was hard to stay consistent with, as much as I love the word of God, to be honest with you. It's just it was like, because it takes time and it takes effort and it's intentionality. When I read the Bible, it comes alive to me, and I like to reread things and highlight and
Yeah.
then right. So it's not just like, let me just read it, right? And so that was like difficult to like stick with after the initial like, okay, we're on the journey. All right, 2 weeks in, woo. And then once you make it a non-negotiable, right? Once you
Mm.
decide like, hey, this is non-negotiable in my life, I'm doing this, then you start getting the momentum to keep it going. And I think for a lot of people, it's getting to the point of, this is not negotiable. When you start a health journey or diet or whatever, right? It seems you always have those things that you don't want to let go of. You want to hold on to them. You want to be like,
Yeah.
maybe just a little bit of this. Like, I can't have a whole can of soda. Let me just have half a cup. Let me just have
Yeah.
half the can, right? Like, that's better than having a whole can, right? And so, but if you don't just completely walk away from it, it slowly creeps back into
Right.
your life. You never really let go of it, right? So it's gonna come back. And so what you're doing is you are retraining your taste, you're retraining your abilities and your habits to be better. It's not that you're doing something different, but you're also erasing what you've prior accepted as being okay.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of turning from sin and turning to God, right? Because you, at one point in your life, you accepted whatever you were doing as being okay. You slept good. It's all right. Now that you've been convicted, you have to turn from it, and staying pointed in the right direction. I don't care who you are, is hard, especially if you struggle with something. Can't be
Yeah.
like, yep, that's over. I've been delivered. Let me tell you about deliverance. It's only as good
Yeah.
right? As you actively continue to pray and understand that that's something that you struggle with. Can be like, I'm good. You'll find yourself right back, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you mentioned that you went from 320
Yeah.
to 220 in 1 year.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker. When you were talking, right? It's kind of like God downloaded this to me. I was like, oh, this is so good. Thank God for a good wife. I mean, come on.
That's real.
Come
That's
on.
really
Thank God
real,
for a
man.
good wife, right?
Yeah.
But man, let me tell you, you said the key word, and I think a lot of people are going to struggle with this, or they have struggled with it. Let me identify it for you. When we do things in silence, we do things quietly, right?
Yeah.
And transformation happens. God does things in silence. Sometimes He takes you out of the picture and He transforms you. If when you come out of whatever you've been in, if you don't give Him the glory and the praise for it, you can count on you're going to have to do that again.
Mm.
You can count on having to repeat that, because God didn't put you through it for yourself,
Yeah.
right? You're not here for you, right? You're not here to be like, I'm getting, yes, Jason, you're getting healthier for you, but your life it belongs to God, and everything that you do brings Him glory. The fact that He's getting the glory now,
Yeah.
the key word, you said that it's going to stay. You're right, because you're not afraid to tell the story of how it's happening. There's so many, I mean, it's instant everything, right? We think we can take a pill and fix our weight. We think we can go on a diet for 2 weeks and everything's going to change. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
If it came fast, it's going to leave fast. And if we do it in silence, most of the times we do it in shame. We do it in like, I don't want anybody to know. I want people just to see the end result, right? And God's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not what I want. And I'm not. God's like, I'm not. I love you at every single stage.
Yeah.
So I don't love you any better because you weigh less, or you look better, or your clothes fit better. I don't love you anymore. I love you the same when you're here and you're there. What I want is the glory for the journey that I'm taking you on.
Mm.
I want the credit for the strength that I gave you to make that transformation. And when God doesn't get that, 9 times out of 10, we find ourselves on a yo-yo,
Yeah.
back and forth. Some success, some success and failure. But when it comes to what you're doing now, it takes a lot of courage to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, every day is not a win. Hey, I'm committed to this because as we walk with Christ and as we take on challenges and make fresh starts in whatever we're doing, we're going to need that faith in God to help us do whatever we're trying to do. Some people are trying to start a business this year. Some people are like, hey, you guys have inspired me to start a YouTube channel, a podcast, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? You're going to have those moments where it's not going to feel good. You're going to want to quit, but you have to, number one, give God the credit for all the success. Even sometimes when you regress, you got to give God the credit and give and put your trust in him because he will carry you through it. And so I believe that's one of the most important keys, especially about the story you were telling, man, so powerful. 100 pounds in a year. And then you were like, yeah, then 21, 22 didn't go. And I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it all didn't go well. But now I've decided and committed myself to exposing, right? Like if you fell off and for 2 weeks it went the wrong direction, you're getting a lot of comments. Hey man, what's going on? Hey,
yeah,
hey
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
what's the deal? Right?
Right.
That kind of pressure and accountability, right? Is like, wow, he struggles just like I do. Because somebody may not be struggling with weight, they may be struggling with something totally different, right? But seeing your faith in God and seeing you post the scriptures and seeing you committed to change, right, is helping people. That is that's what God wants us to do with these fresh starts, right? To not like do them in silence and then show up like I always been this good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's me.
yeah.
It's I
I
I
did
never
it.
struggle. What's
Right,
wrong
right.
with you? That's not the purpose of the journey. The journey is to help other people along the way because as you're traveling this way, you're passing people who they're about to give up. They failed so many times. And then you come along and you're like, "Hey, I'm with you. Hey, it was a hard couple days,
Yeah,
Christmas, Thanksgiving, like you were posting during Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those
yeah.
had to be some, you know,
There was a
pray for
couple,
me."
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That actually so funny, Thanksgiving was pretty easy. My in-laws were awesome about it. Like, I basically ate ham and and, uh, chicken. You know what I mean? Like, it
that's
wasn't
good.
like, um yeah, there wasn't a lot of carbs. But yeah, it's been to post publicly means that you can't lie, you
Mm,
can't cheat, and you can't steal the
mm,
credit. Like, you
wow.
can't so I'm posting, well, people are gonna see me in person, and if I'm
Mhm.
saying that I've lost 10 pounds, like, you better look like you lost 10 pounds.
No
20,
Photoshop?
30, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying is, like, you're gonna see me day to day
Mhm,
and be like, you said you've lost 80 pounds, but,
mhm,
like, you look heavier. What's going
mm,
on with that? So, to me, it's just like I said, this is, like, eyeballs all the time,
yeah,
and that's what's important, that's what helps you change habits, and
so good.
maybe we need to realize that about that's what God is, by the way.
Mm,
Like, God is eyeballs all the time.
all the
So
time.
and something hit me while you were talking, a fresh start is really, uh, kind of increasing your power to say no.
Mhm,
So, you wanna start a business, you have to say no to distractions. You gotta
yep,
say no to sometimes extra time with the family because 'cause you're building a business, right?
mhm,
You have to say no to other things. You want a fresh start on something, this is really just you increasing your ability to say no.
yeah,
So,
that's good.
can you do that? And if
Mm,
you can't, why won't you say no to the thing that you know is
mm,
hurting you?
come
So
on.
and I don't know the answer to that,
Snooze
but
button, no.
yeah, 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 that's what I mean. I don't know how to like, what everybody's challenge is, but, like, why would you say no to the thing that will help you?
Mm,
Because
good.
I'm not even saying everybody make a fresh start this year. I'm saying if you're not, would you just do me a favor and ask yourself, like, in that area where you think you could use a fresh start, but you're not making it, what is the thing holding you back from saying no?
Mm,
So, for me, the thing holding me back, from saying no to sugary foods is that they're delightful, and I wanna keep
mm,
having them. What
yeah,
is the cost of that, not saying no? I could die young.
mhm,
So then, let's not do that. Like, you
yeah,
gotta weigh your pro and con there. So what was stopping you from saying no to, you know, um, other jobs and starting a business? Fear. Like, what are you
Mhm.
afraid of? Uh, you don't want to do a budget? Like, no, I can't do that. Why? Well, because I want to keep spending money however I want. Okay, but
Mhm.
that lands you somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, no, I don't want a relationship with God. Why? Well, that might require me to change my lifestyle, and I don't want to do that.
Mm.
Okay, but you get to that's the thing about a fresh start is if you don't make them, and
Mhm.
none of us are perfect, by the way, so everybody could use a fresh start in some area. If you don't make
Absolutely.
if you don't make a fresh start, there will be a cost,
Mhm.
right? And if you don't make a change in some area, there will be a cost of some sort. And
That's right.
so that's what people need to know. Like that's the benefit of the fresh start episode. And again, I kind of my first conception of today's episode was like talk about things you can fresh start in. The
Mhm.
truth is there's countless things
Oh, yeah.
depending on what your interests are. Are they healthy? And then if they are, why won't you start? And so if you attack that, I'm not saying you have to start January 1st. I'm saying like pick a date like March 1st. Pick a
Mhm.
date like July 1st. You're like, "You know what? I'm going to wait a little bit." Now, I don't know if you should wait that long, but pick a future date, and by that date, require yourself to be like, "All right, I'm going to say no to these things that are hurting me."
Yeah.
These things that are holding me back, these things that could be negative, whatever. And I think everybody knows what their thing is.
That's good.
um, and just let it go. Like if I need a fresh start from a life full of worry or sadness, why am I saying no? Maybe I like how sadness feels. Maybe I like how uh I want to hang on to the grief, or I want to hang on to whatever that thing is. Like
Yeah.
if it's hurting your life, um, what's stopping you from saying no? It's like, well, I might
That's
have to
good.
let that thing go. It might not be able to define my life anymore. So, um, anyway, that's it. The power to say no to the things that are hurting you. And I think we all have them. I think we all
Yeah.
have them. So
Ye
that was it. That was what I thought was power to say no. Like we're increasing our power to
That's
say
good.
no to
Yeah.
unhealthy things.
That's
Because
good.
a fresh start isn't. I think sometimes it feels like saying yes to working out. It feels like
Mhm.
saying yes to good economics in your life. It feels like saying yes to that idea that you've been holding on to. Like, woo, that's the exciting part. When things get hard, instead of increasing your ability to say yes, you had better shore up your ability to say no to the things that you want to revert back to,
Mhm.
right? Like, no, I'm not going to be sleeping in. I'm going to be working out 4 days a week this starting in January, right? Actually, let's be clear. I'm starting January 6th
Let's
at
go.
7 a.m. will be the
Got a
first
couple
workout.
days here.
Yeah, yeah. Gave myself, like I said, pick a future date. Um, Post New Year, I figure after a holiday and stuff. But yeah, pick a date and start. And my saying no, right? Like I want to sleep in. So what I have to say no to is more sleep.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna feel better over the long term. This is worth it. So,
That's
anyways,
good.
that's all. Trying to increase my ability to say no to uh things I don't need and increase my ability to be excited about the things I do need to do.
That's good.
Yeah, I do.
That's
I'm doing my
good.
best, big guy. Trying to
That's
inspire
good.
you too.
That's what I'm
So,
talking about. You
is
know
there a fresh start in your life? Is there
well,
something you need a fresh start?
I just turned 45, December 31st.
So old, bro.
Man, let me tell you, 45 is a whole new feel, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I make this look good. I
Come
make
on,
woo,
you're doing great.
telling you, man, what?
MJ's comeback number.
45. That
Yeah. Freeze.
but I was sitting back just taking some inventory and just being like, man, 45.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like, am I in the mid of life? So if God
Not
gave me
yet.
another
Right.
45,
Right.
that means that I'm 90. Like,
Math.
hmm. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, that means I'm not. Have I lived more than half of my life already? And I was like, perspective comes in the queue there, and this is what I came up. This is kind of what I came up with my philosophy going forward.
Okay.
I'm a December 31st baby, so it's
Woo!
always a good time for me to start something new, right? Like brand new age,
Birthday,
brand new
yeah.
year,
Yeah.
right? So, um, I just at this point in my life, I used to hear people say this and I didn't get it to like my late 30s and they were like, "Look,
Okay.
I'm at the point in my life where I'm just going to say what I got to say and I don't care how you feel about it." And I'm like,
Okay.
I don't understand that point. Now I get it. At 45, I'm like, "Look, I'm going to say what I need to say and I'm not gonna be concerned about not purposely go out and hurting people's feelings, but you know how sometimes we don't say what needs to be said? And I believe that even works for you talking to you. You know, I think not most of the time
Okay.
you saying other things to people, but sometimes just holding yourself accountable, like, "Hey, Warren, get yourself together. You need to take care
Mm,
of the following things. Your time is limited. Life is a vapor. Look where you're at."
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
You're
really
coming at
have
you
hard
hard.
conversations with yourself. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
"Hey, you don't have forever to get this done. You need to get this done. You need to be about this.
yeah.
You need to fix this part of you." Right. And so for all the people out there listening, and maybe this is not the case with you, but I take inventory on how I treat people. How do I show the love of God to the world around me? Which
Mm,
is most important. I can talk about God all day. I can rattle off scriptures to you, but if the people who I live next to, my neighbors and the people I work with, and my friends and family don't feel Jesus when I walk in the room, there's a problem,
yeah,
right? And so, I convince you, or I kind of pursue you to look at where you are in your life today and find where you can make those adjustments. Like, just and some of them are just minor adjustments to how you can just adjust your attitude and adjust how you look at life and speak more life into you. I think sometimes we wait for people to do things for us. We wait to be inspired when you are the inspiration that you need. It's this in 2025, this is your gift God's given you. He allowed you to live to this point, and whatever you're doing with it is your gift back to God, right? And so Jason's already, I mean, not only is he preaching all over the place on campus, at
okay.
churches, he's also like on Instagram showing people how to stay committed to a goal and follow it through. Ask yourself, what are you doing to affect the world?
Mm,
How are you touching the world with what God has given you? It may not be that you're supposed to exegete scripture or preach,
yeah,
right? It may just be that you're supposed to help somebody out with the talent you have, or you're supposed to maybe begin that business this year, or whatever you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, or whatever, however you're supposed to affect the community and the world around you. I convince you this year, get after that. Make those small adjustments. Let go of fear and let's go. Let's get started. Let's begin living the life that God has called us to live, because we don't know if tomorrow's promised to us. And
yeah,
if it is promised to us, what are you going to do with it? Is there a plan for the gift that he's going to give you? Or you're just hoping that, you jump out the plane and the parachute's going to be there.
yeah,
So that's my push to, if you're not thinking about fresh start this year, you probably should be starting something. It may not be starting something from fresh. It may just be breathing new energy into something you're already doing. Maybe you're not doing it all the way. Maybe you're not
right.
giving it all you can. Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
put some more funk on those sermons, okay? Put some more oomph in there.
There's something I'm missing. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what so to me,
some
that's
more
the cool
gravy
part.
on there.
Yes, that is the cool part. What you said was the lack of fear. No fear.
Mhm,
Like, go into it without fear of if it's something positive, don't fear public repercussion
mhm,
or social pressure or, like, move in what God's asking you to do. The interesting thing is, like, you were talking about, uh, what was it? You said, um just move with a lack of fear, right?
mhm,
Like, I think that's what stops us is like,
mhm.
what if I fail? What
Yep,
if I well, when you pointed out very poignantly, a fresh start doesn't have to be a new thing, right? Like, it could be a thing that you put on the shelf and we're like, well, I'm probably not going to go back to that. I don't
mhm,
know if that's a thing, but God's asking you to do a thing.
yep,
I think for Warren and I, like, we haven't done it in a little while, but we're gonna go back to reading the Bible here
yep,
on the YouTube channel because I think that's the thing, and funny enough, it's easy to get distracted, so I was like, "Well, maybe we do, like, ASMR videos on the channel, maybe we do all these kinda things," and get all excited, it's like, what's the assignment God's given you? Because
yeah.
that's the really, like,
That's the
powerful
real
thing. The
yep,
thing he's asking you to do is where it's gonna be the secret sauce of
yeah,
what you have going on. And
absolutely.
so, I feel a real call to be a better example in terms of my health, in terms of what that does going forward, giving me more energy for what God has me doing. Um, I feel like just being a better example overall for what God's asked me to do and for him and, I think part of that is staying goal oriented, focused, being accountable to that. and maintaining the excitement. Like all the
Mhm.
kind of recapping all the things we said is like find accountability. It'll help you stay excited. It'll help you stay focused. Don't let fear discourage you. Don't let falling off the wagon discourage you because it
Yeah.
happens. So then just get back on.
Get
Like
back on.
one bad day does not have to derail and become one bad month, right? You get to choose every single time to start fresh again. And the thing I think I had to learn about my health or maybe anything is no matter how big of a fresh start, no matter how dramatic it feels, no matter how many times you've done it, there actually isn't shame in it because it's not new,
Mhm.
right? Like a fresh start is not new for any of us at all. Um, we have all fresh started something.
Mhm.
So um, don't let the lie that builds in your head be you should feel shame for fresh starting. Go ahead and do it. It's
Mhm.
time. So, you got anything else for us, Warren, my man?
Man, you just capped it off, man.
I was trying to do my best. So,
Capped it off, man.
uh,
That was great.
that was a good episode. Welcome back to full episodes here on the church
Let's
podcast, everybody.
let's
So,
go.
after our short Christmas episode, I'm gonna pray us out, man.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful for the episode, and uh, before I pray, good luck to everybody on your fresh start. I know you can do it. We
Let's
believe in
go.
you. 100%. Warren and I are behind you. Uh, Let us know in the comments, maybe whatever fresh start you got going on, and we'll try to encourage you as much as we can. So,
Yeah.
all right, God, I just thank you for today. I thank you for opportunities for fresh starts. I thank you for the energy for fresh starts. I thank you for the motivation. I thank you for the ideas. I thank you for the ways that you want us to move and grow and continue to just improve, all for your glory. I thank you for everything that you do, everything that you will do, all the ways that you're going to encourage people in their fresh start, all the things that you're going to bring into people's lives that will make fresh starts easier or more fulfilling and have you be a bigger part of it, God. I thank you for who you are. I thank you for Warren. I thank you for the podcast. I pray that you just continue to bless it into the new year. In Jesus' name, amen.
Man.
Amen, brother.
Man.
Man, time to go get a fresh start.
Absolutely.
Just kidding. Yeah. No, I mean, well, I'm not kidding. You're gonna do that anyway. But wait, what was your fresh start? Did you say?
Oh,
Be
for
nicer.
the
Like be kinder to people. Like show Jesus
oh
more in the
yeah,
room. Yeah, I dig
absolutely.
that. I'm here for it. You're already fit as a fiddle. What are we talking about?
No, no, no,
So
no, 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 no. 45 is a whole different thing. I'm trying to shrink me.
fair
Trying
enough.
to
Fair
trying to
enough.
take some pressure off my heart,
I got it.
you
Well,
know?
I heart you, buddy.
I
We'll
appreciate
see you
you,
in the
brother.
next one, man.